Some seeds only sprout after surviving the harshest winters. Some dreams only come alive after being crushed by the entire world. Today's story begins with a boy who thought he had lost his future, until he met a quiet man living alone at the edge of the forest. The boy's name was Arun, and from a very young age, he saw the world in colors no one else could. But those dreamy eyes were exactly what made the adults in the village shake their heads in disappointment. He preferred sketching over calculations, watching sunsets instead of listening to business talk. Whenever he picked up a pencil, the world seemed to quiet down, leaving only the rhythm of his heart and colors flowing onto paper. Arun captured the things others overlooked: a curled dry leaf by the roadside, or sunlight reflecting on a cracked old wall. He didn't need a reason to draw, just a moment that stirred his heart. But his drawings were not welcomed. Villagers told him to do something more practical, like herding cattle, fixing houses, or growing vegetables. His mother once hid Arun's drawings, afraid her son would be laughed at. "Paintings won't fill your stomach, my child," she said, her eyes full of worry and love. Each word of discouragement was like a drop of water falling onto his heart, slowly thinning out his dream like worn paper. He began to wonder, maybe I believed in the wrong thing. As the days passed, Arun stopped drawing. His pencils lay untouched in the drawer, and his watercolors had long dried up. The boy who once shone so brightly had grown quiet, like a lamp hidden beneath a thick layer of dust. But deep within, something inside Arun still hadn't gone completely dark. Arun didn't know what to do with the emptiness inside him, other than walking as far and as long as he could. He wandered dusty red roads for hours, just to escape the sound of more disapproval. One day, as the sun dipped behind the mountains, Arun reached the edge of a forest. A place people whispered about, where an old man lived alone in a worn wooden hut. They called him Baba Jivan. A strange man, quiet, but those who visited always returned with something special. For some reason, Arun's feet kept walking toward that hut, as if his heart already knew what it needed. Leaves rustled under his shoes, birds called each other home, and the silence felt less heavy than it had in days. When Arun arrived, Baba Jivan was sitting beneath a tree, shaping a small wooden bowl. He didn't ask who Arun was, nor seem surprised by the presence of a boy standing in front of him. "Sit down," he said softly, eyes never leaving his hands. Arun sat, and for several minutes, they simply listened to the wind weaving through the trees. Then suddenly, Arun spoke. "I feel like I'm useless. I try, but nothing ever works." Baba Jivan didn't look up. He only smiled gently and said, "Let me tell you a story. Once there was a tiny seed buried in the dark soil. It didn't know what it was or why it was there. Every time the rain came, it feared being washed away, but the rain helped it grow. Then came the sun, not to burn it, but to give it life. Though storms blew and winds tried to break it, the seed held on and pushed upward. Eventually, it became a strong tree, full of fruit and shade. People rested under its branches, but none knew it had once been a scared little seed." Arun sat still. The story sounded simple, but it felt like it was about him. For the first time in months, he didn't feel useless, just not grown yet. Baba Jivan's story sounded like a fable, but it touched the cracks in Arun's heart. He realized, maybe he wasn't broken, just not ready to bloom yet. That night, Arun lay on a thin mat inside Baba's hut, listening to the wind howling through the forest like a song of awakening. As the night deepened, heavy rain began to fall. The drops tapping on the roof felt like gentle knocks on his clouded thoughts. Baba whispered, "Don't fear the rain. Every seed needs water to grow." Arun didn't answer, but a quiet peace settled in his chest. In the following days, Arun stayed with Baba. He helped light the fire, gathered wild herbs, and sat listening to stories unlike any he'd heard before. One story was about a baby bird that fell from its nest but still learned to fly. Another about a potter who broke hundreds of bowls before shaping one that didn't crack. Each day, something new began to grow inside Arun. Not exactly joy nor clear happiness, but a steady, quiet strength, like roots digging deeper into soil. Baba once said, No one grows without pain. The storm doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to test if you're strong enough to stay. That line stayed with Arun during misty mornings by the fire, long walks through the forest, and silent afternoons beneath the old tree. Storms, he thought, could be friends, if you learn to stand still within them. In those quiet afternoons near the forest, Arun slowly found what he had once lost. The spark he felt when holding a pencil. No one asked him to draw. No one expected anything. But maybe that's what made it so beautiful. One day, Baba Jivan placed a faded yellow leaf in front of him. He said, "If you want, try drawing it, but only if you truly see it as beautiful." Arun stared at the leaf for a long while, not to figure out how to draw it well, but to feel why he wanted to keep it. And for the first time in many months, he picked up a pencil. There was no pressure, no judgmental eyes. Just him, the leaf, and enough feeling to begin. He drew on old paper, with slow and shaky lines, like someone relearning how to breathe. The first drawing wasn't pretty, but it made Arun's heart ring, like a tiny bell echoing in a deep forest. From that day on, he drew every day. He sketched the forgotten birdcage behind the hut, Baba's old sandals, the mossy wall where sunlight painted strange shapes. He didn't draw for anyone, not for praise, not to sell, not to prove anything, just to say thank you to the world for still giving him things that stirred his heart. And because of that, each drawing carried a piece of Arun's soul. The more Arun painted, the lighter he felt, as if every scratch from the past was being filled with color. The sadness didn't disappear, but it no longer weighed him down. One day, a stranger stopped by Baba Jivan's small hut. He was an old painter from the city, searching for inspiration for the final collection of his career. When he saw Arun's sketches hanging quietly on the wooden wall, he stood still for a long time, saying nothing. After a while, he asked, "Where did you study?" Arun just shook his head. "To draw like that," the man smiled, "is to draw from the heart, not the hand." He asked to take a few of Arun's pieces back to the city, to display them in a small private exhibition. Arun expected nothing, but he didn't say no either. He simply thought, if someone finds something in my art, maybe it's worth sharing. A few months later, a letter arrived. Arun's name appeared beneath a painting displayed in the gallery's center. People called it the painting that breathes. Soon after, visitors began to come to the little hut where he once lived, asking to buy his art, asking to learn. But Arun didn't leave. He stayed. He kept painting and started teaching local children how to draw with feeling instead of just technique. The village kids, who once believed they had nothing to dream of, now gathered around Arun each afternoon, learning how to rediscover their voices through their drawings. Baba Jivan watched from afar and nodded. Arun had never thought about fame. He just wanted to paint. But from the pain that once broke him, he had found his purpose. Some seeds seem forgotten, but they're only waiting for the right season to bloom. Every crack inside us is where the light can find its way in. You don't have to shine right now. Just keep walking with an honest heart. Believe that today's pain can become tomorrow's purpose. If you saw a piece of yourself in this story, share it with someone who might need a little hope too.